Hello, everybody. It's me again. I know it's been a hot minute. Uh, but anyways, today I'll be ranking TDX bosses. Funny enough, I actually felt like doing this today, and then another YouTuber, you might know him, made a video about doing this. So I thought, well, better late than ever, huh? Wow, these ads. Anyways, we'll see the tiers. We got Eradicate now, aka get this motherfucker out the game. They have absolute dog shit. They're just dog shit. Simple as that. Bad boss. Flawed. It has flaws, obviously. Not a great boss. They have just meh. It's the most meh thing ever. Then we have the bland face, no reaction emoji to you. This one is exactly what it seems like. I have no thoughts. Fun, or just good boss, I should say. It sort of explains itself. It's a fun boss to go against, and it's pretty good. Then we have Epic. This is a pretty good boss, and is pretty fun to go up against. Always nice to have. The oh my god! I think it might be a little bit off because I don't know what I was doing. Wait. Okay, well I guess we're just gonna get the oh my god. Whatever. Anyways, they got absolute TDX for the absolute top tier bosses in this game. There's a good few. If you have a good few bosses to go through, so this might take a little bit. Also, a little bit clarification. Some nightmare bosses in particular, um, they're probably going to be counted, I believe, as the other regular versions since they look pretty much the exact same. So let's get into it. We have Crushertron 9000. This guy is the first tutorial boss, and I think the weakest boss in this entire game. I think even being outclassed by some mini bosses, which is kind of crazy. I'm pretty sure there are many bosses on this tier on this tier list. Yeah, there are. Like I played Guardian. Don't really know why there's mini bosses. I actually mini bosses. I have no idea what they are anymore. Honestly, you want me to be for real? I have no idea what's a real boss, what's a mini boss anymore. Well, no, I should rephrase that. I know what a boss is because health bar, but mini bosses are sort of confusing because some stuff feels like it should be a mini boss but isn't. Other stuff feels like it should be a boss but isn't. I don't really know. Anyways, Crusher 9000 is pretty bland. I mean, there's no real specific way you're supposed to beat him. Or really, there is a very specific way you're supposed to beat him. There's just no other way because I'm pretty sure the tutorial mode doesn't really allow you to actually try to beat specific waves with different strategies. So it really just forces you to do exactly what Xenon tells you to. So the Crushertron 9000 is going to be a pretty basic boss to go up against. And it's going to be pretty much the same thing every time. I'm going to put into the, well, it's not absolute dog shit. Eradicate now is like the bosses I absolutely despise, so I'm not going to do that. Absolute dog shit, no. Flawed, I wouldn't say it's flawed. It's more so it's not even the fault of the Crushertron that it's where it is. So I guess I'll put it into the bland, no thoughts emoji tier. And now we have a Rad B. A Rad B actually does appear in other game mode, this being party mode, but problem with that is that party mode, a lot of the bosses in that have a really high amounts of health, and a Rad B does also have a lot of health. And at that point, you should already have a lot of money and a lot of defenses. So again, there's no real actual good way I can describe about how to beat him. Since other way, it's a tutorial mode, which is just spamming down the javelins, and that's about it. So yeah. Other than that, though, I do like the Rad B itself. I like how it's like the predecessor of the Eradicators. One of the prototypes, the first prototype we see in the game, and therefore it gives us some lore, which is always nice. I wonder how much money this actually costs Xenon, and if she was always building these things with if she was always building these things with like human bodies, and I wonder when the GDA actually figured this out and stuff. Anyways, so yeah, Rad B itself is a pretty good boss. I enjoy it for what it is. So I'll put it in the hmm, I'll put it in like a higher tier than Crushertron, but still in the same tier. I know you have Plague Doctor. Plague Doctor is really bland. Probably honestly, actually I don't even know. I wouldn't say it's just meh. Plague Doctor I'll probably put into flawed. Plague Doctor is cool in himself. Just that honestly, there's no specific theming that appears to be in easy mode. So not too sure about him. I'm not really I don't know a whole lot about his lore. Like we at least have some lore for other bosses in this game. This guy, all I know is that pretty much Xenon told him to go attack us or whatever, and that's exactly what he did. Nothing too special. Why is he a Plague Doctor? I don't really know. There's not really a whole lot that Plague Doctor actually has for like lore at all. And for his boss, it's pretty boring. He's just debuffs, sometimes heals, spawns in enemies, stuns, and that's about it. You tell that some bosses that can actually kill are gonna get higher up. But yeah, Plague Doctor himself is pretty boring. His only special part about him is that he can change cars, I suppose, but that's about it. So yeah, then we have Predator. Predator is interesting. So Predator appears a lot. He appears in more game modes than probably any one of these bosses, I feel, except like mini bosses. And even then, I feel like he outbeats mini bosses in how much he appears in game modes. Probably the most, again, out of all these. I'm willing to put money that the Predator is in most of these game modes that everything else is in. So he's very common to come across. He's in several different game modes. And for is he good? He's just meh. I'm like, you know what? I'll give Crusher probably just meh. He's better than Plague Doctor because he's a lot more detailed and all that. But I feel like putting Predator below Crusher feels a bit dirty since Predator at least does something. He is the first enemy many will actually encounter that can kill your towers. Uh Pretty bland boss. He is considered a boss, I believe. Though, which is a little bit confusing, considering we also have Hunter somewhere on here, and Hunter is just a stronger predator. So, yeah, that's sort of interesting. Hunter's a mini boss, so, yeah. I don't know. I mean, his soundtrack is actually pretty good. Probably the best so far. But yeah, he just gets old after a bit. Alright, now we have the Eradicator. Okay, Eradicator is gonna go in the fun tier. Simple as that. Eradicator is really good for what it is. Back then, he was really cool. I mean, you put that up to like something like Fallen King back then in like TDS. There was a clear like vector there. Whether Fallen King was harder or if he just was better overall, he was stronger. The Eradicator just was awesome because of what it did. It was able to kill towers, which in a whole lot of tower defense games back then actually could do. Also, the design of the Eradicators, and in this case, Eradicator himself, who was the first Eradicator to come out in the game, was pretty good and pretty cool. So the Eradicator definitely deserves that spot. He's also still pretty relevant today, since he also appeared in a Nightmare mode, uh, at Wave 20, which after such a long time you'd think that the Eradicator would start withering out and being a little bit forgotten, but in reality he's actually still pretty relevant. He actually still matters. He actually still pops up here and there. So therefore I think Eradicator definitely gets some spotlight, some well deserved spotlight. And yeah, he's pretty fun to go up against. I feel like he plays baits on really anything that can counter, like killing. He's pretty easy. But other than that, though, I think he's pretty decent. The difficulty is not super hard so far, obviously, but it'll start to get a little bit harder. And now we have the King. The King is probably a less cool Rad B. King is cool, I guess. I don't really know. King appears in more game modes than what Queen does. Not a whole lot. I think the only ones he appears in is Elite Mode, Ultra Nightmare, and MLG Nightmare. And he doesn't do a whole lot. You'd think that he'd do a little bit more since he's the king, but he's basically just the tankier frontliner for Wave 27, and that can debuff and summon stuff. That's kind of all he does, so he's not a very fun boss to go up against. He's just sort of tanky for Wave 27. The queen though, I feel does less, so therefore I'm gonna rank her below the king. I like King's design more because of that sword, but Queen isn't bad either. Pretty good duo boss too. Just the Queen feels like she's less relevant because she's usually pretty easy to kill. Just that she can only really stun one tower at a time, whether she stuns for a long period of time or if she can always stun whatever. She's just the support boss, while good old King is the frontliner that's taking up all the hits. So yeah. Alright, next up we have Cyber Dragon. So, Cyber Dragon. Absolute dog shit. So, Cyber Dragon. Why do I hate Cyber Dragon? Simple as this. He doesn't feel like he fits in Elite Mode. He either goes two ways. One, you completely forgot that Elite Mode even had flying enemies, and you didn't bring any actual good flying defense, so you most likely die. Or B, he gets absolutely destroyed, which is why he's such a fast boss. He's just super weak. You bring any sort of aerial defense and he's dead. He's either extremely pointless or the end of your run. It's one or the other. And I'm sorry, but the very first flying enemies to even appear in Elite Mode are 2 waves before this guy. You get basically no warnings about him even showing up. So if you even have a whole lot of actual good aerial detection, and since the plague birds are pretty easy to kill, you think, oh, okay, well, I don't even have to worry about flying detection all too much. I'm good on that. Then this guy pops out, and then you're like, holy crap, what the hell? What is this? A flying boss? Just completely out of the blue. He doesn't even have a soundtrack or anything. Out of all of these, he's the first one to not have a soundtrack. Technically. I think Queen and King, they both share the same soundtrack. I don't know if you respond them, do they play the soundtrack? But regardless, he will never have a soundtrack. So, yeah. And for Plague Guardian's gonna go in absolute dog shit, too. First of all, he's a mini boss, not even really a boss, so not much to even go off of here. And all he does is just summon. That is literally all he does. He summons Tainted, Tarnishes, and I think revived mutated zombies, or I don't know. He might only spawn Tainted and Tarnishes. I don't really remember, but this guy is completely forgettable. He's not even a real boss. I don't know why he's on here. Who invited this guy? Alright, so the Eradicator, or not Eradicator, Revive Plague Doctor, the old one. So he didn't have a whole lot actually going for him. He felt like a more washed down Eradicator, honestly. I'll put him in the, probably better than Erad B, but not as good as Eradicator. He was cool, but surprisingly, yeah, he can kill towers, but he didn't really seem like he actually took the killing route all too often. He sort of just be like a mix between killing and debuffing, which sounds bad, but really his most dangerous attack was probably his ability to spawn resurrected juggernauts back then, which was probably his most dangerous attack. He doesn't have a whole lot of killing moves. He can like slam his axe or a scythe onto the ground and like spin it around, but basically that's about all he can do when it comes down to damaging moves. The rest are basically just Plague Doctor's moves, but like buffed in some ways. He also has a healing move, which is cool, I suppose, but not a whole lot even going off of Plague Doctor. He's just basically the same thing as Plague Doctor, just like stronger, which makes sense. But either way, though, he's decent. He's cool, I guess. I know we have Revive Plague Doctor Plus, who I'm gonna put in the top tier of fun so far. He's better. Problem is that he looks like the exact same. Unlike what Eradicator Mark II Plus had, This guy looks the exact damn same as the Eradicate. I keep saying Eradicate as Revive Plague Doctor. The only difference is that he's just bigger now. Very disappointing. Probably the most disappointing factor about Elite Mode is that they just did not put a whole lot of effort into him. With basically the same design, same animations, pretty much, and any new attacks he has were sort of eh. His his uh his healing ability was replaced with a ability that would make maxed out cap damage to 50, which sounds not the greatest, but in reality it's not that bad. Um and that's basically it, other than his mass summon ability, which immediately just felt like a copy of Calamities or like Voids, but mostly Calamities since that's what I really imagined because of how much stuff he summons. Like, he summons basically every enemy that even appears in Elite Mode. Even like Shaw, I think he summons. He summons in Shaws. So yeah. Oh no, not Shaws, Slaws. I think they're called Slaws. I don't really remember what they're called. But either way, he's just basically a pretty disappointing boss, but like I've heard all these is the best so far, I'll say that. Not any bad way. I don't think any of these bosses are bad. Just other than those two down there. Or free, I don't know. Plague Doctor's sort of crap too, but when it comes to difficulty, he's not very hard. He only has about 400 grand, which sounds bad considering the Eradicator only had about 140,000. But this guy, because Elite Mode gives you a lot more money than what Intermediate Mode does, so you're pretty much set at that point. Like, 34 waves is not a whole lot, but yet again, it's still enough to get you enough money to clearly defeat this guy with relative ease. So yeah. Next up we have Phobos. Okay, Phobos I think goes above Revive Plague Doctor Plus. He's just cool. Okay, he was the first out of all of the new bosses to appear in the Expert rework, and probably one of the best. What Expert rework really did right was that the bosses were really good, and that this is just a mini boss, so it definitely shows off. And for Wave 30 in general, Phobos is one of the more dangerous ones because of his whole ability of constantly being in the front lines, constantly healing, shielding. Really, if he is slower than Zeus, but he'll switch off between Zeus and him in front, and he'll always manage to find his way back up. His damage is it really all three of the Wave 30 bosses here in Expert Rework all do relatively high amounts of damage. Phobos doesn't do like destructive damage, but is the tankiest and is just constantly in the front. So it pretty much he's there and he's important because of the other two, Zeus and Artemis, who also appear, which is why they both are still pretty dangerous. Because this guy is constantly in front, so it kind of focuses on forcing players to switch off targeting or just get a turret, I suppose. Zeus is just sort of there, which is why Zeus I'm gonna put him like probably bottom. He's definitely worse than Eradicator. Is he worse or better than Rare Plague Doctor? You know what? Screw it. I'll say he's better. He can go here. He's still a pretty fun boss. He's definitely worse than Phobos, but he's definitely not bad. He's surprisingly the stealthy one. You'd be surprised, because if you focus too much on Phobos and Artemis, this guy will surprisingly make his way through relatively unscathed, and will just pop out of the blue to be like, "Hey guys, I'm here to end your run." He's also the all-around fastest, other than Phobos' rushing ability. So you do have to still focus on him, which requires pretty good targeting. Out of them, he's definitely the least dangerous though, and the least coolest. But he's still a pretty decent boss in general. And I think he's still pretty nice. He's just basically a slightly weaker Eradicator, but that's not bad. It's not necessarily bad. So yeah. Then we have Artemis. Artemis, I'm gonna put probably she's definitely not better than I'll say right here is pretty good. She's definitely not better than Remake Play Doctor Plus, but she's still, I think, better than Eradicator. Actually, I don't know. Alright, I might have to switch up a little bit. Now I really think about it. Alright, to be fair, these three definitely have probably the best soundtracks out of all of these so far. Some of these have pretty good soundtracks, but God, this one is so good. So in that gives them pretty good points when it comes to likeness. Their gameplay, in my opinion, is probably one of the best out of all of these because they are just so perfect for each other. They make King and Queen cry. They destroy unprepared players. They definitely shine best in expert mode. Every other game where they appear in, they're just like there, but these ones expert mode they definitely shine in. So therefore, I enjoy them. But if they were to go off basically by themselves, which I suppose is why I'm making them so much higher, because you don't really see like Phobos ever like you don't really see Phobos ever like without without Zeus. He and Zeus has, I believe, is whenever Phobos appears, Zeus appears as well. At least in Nightmare mode, Artemis does appear in it, but she appears at wave 39, while Phobos and Zeus both appear at wave 20. So yeah. I think it's actually pretty fine though. I mean, just based off the fact that Remake Play Doctor Plus only has like one little wild card. That's basically all he has. So I think I'm fine with this ranking. But for Artemis, Artemis is probably the most dangerous out of all of them because she does so much damage. You would be surprised for the amount of damage. You best hope you have some good, like, shield towers. Preferably medics. Shield tower seems a little bit too much for expert mode, but... Or, like, too much, as in, like, you shouldn't have to grind that much to beat expert mode, you know? But yeah, you best hope you have some pretty good like medics or like things to actually heal your towers, because Artemis will just destroy them if you don't deal with her in time. Which is why AA turret is such an absolute necessity in this game mode. AA turret feels like it's a must bring when it comes down to the game mode, not just because of like pilots and stuff, but that too. But like not even just like VX drone, which we'll get to that soon. Artemis is also a very, very big candidate for why AA turret's just a must-have for extra mode, because you don't have to worry about targeting all too much. Bring something like, for example, like Railgunner, Top Half, even Javelins, you'll have to still worry about the targeting. Well, honestly, Railgunner Top Half is probably the best idea to bring out of all of these. AA turret will get the job done. Artemis, which is good. Just that Artemis does so much damage, she's constantly a threat along with Phobos and Zeus. I don't know. Just really good trio boss. That's all I'm going to say. I know VX Drone compared to this wave of bosses, the God trios I have to call them, probably flawed. I'll put him above Plague Doctor, yeah, sure. Because VX Drone's, relatively newer than just not Destructor, than Plague Doctor here, obviously. Problem is that another flying boss, except this one is significantly worse than Artemis. Artemis is good because Expert Mode actually builds up on the idea of flying enemies, unlike that Cyber Dragon motherfucker who just appears out of the blue. And also, Artemis has an impact, a really, 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 really big impact. VX Drone, on the other hand, we've already seen Artemis before. We've already seen a powerful flying boss. VX Drone is basically just the DLC of Artemis, except it's just more high health. The damage is kind of pathetic, honestly. The mortar targets the most expensive tower, but doesn't even do a whole lot of damage. The laser is sort of there, but only targets one, so it's relatively not that bad, and can be countered by medic. That's basically all that the VX drone has. Sure, it has a rage mode, sort of, but that just increases its speed. That's all it does. It also appears with Destructor, but again, VX drone needs to appear with something else, because VX drone is just such a basic boss that it can't really do a whole lot without anything else. So VX drone, I think, is a pretty basic boss, but I mean, it's fine. It's not horrible. Just that it's flawed, obviously. Also, again, no boss music. Boo-hoo. Alright, now we have Destructor. Destructor is definitely going to go in the epic tier. Simple as that. Destructor is a extremely cool boss. Probably, maybe the best. I don't know. I really, really like Phobos Zeus' Artemis soundtrack. But Destructor's soundtrack is also really good. So his whole thing. First of all, if you bring helicopters, pull them back. All I'm gonna say, I made that mistake before. I didn't even know about about the EMP blast until later on. And if too much stuff like helicopters, for example, that cost a lot of money, all die because of this guy, you'll have a much harder time with Eradicator Mark II Plus. So he still definitely is. He can definitely cause an effect. He definitely has an effect within the game. He's also a pretty cool boss in general. Not even just a flying boss. He's a jumping boss, which is basically. I know that it's not super special anymore, like Alpha Predator can jump and all, but this guy was like the first to do it, and he did it really well. He really, really brought along that idea of the jumping aspect. Also, he sort of gets rid of the whole, infinite knockback of War Machine and all that, instantly killing any units as well. Yeah, he is pretty cool in those factors. He's just an all-around pretty well made out boss that can last a good bit. I really do like Destructor. Alright. Eradicator Mark II. I don't really know what to rank him. Alright, I think I'll rank him slightly above Eradicator. Still worse than Artemis because unlike Eradicator Mark II is only exclusive to Nightmare mode and Endless mode at this moment. I believe. Unless he appears in any other game modes I can't really think of right now. But in those game modes, he's always accompanied by something else. At least Wave 40, he's the strongest and main threat. But back in Expert mode, when it wasn't reworked, the Eradicator Mark II was the final boss, and it was a threatening one. Back then, it was the final boss of TDX. It was the strongest thing. Those rocket pods were deadly. He has his stealth healing. He had his fire and his miniguns, but mostly those two, the healing and the rocket pod were the main things that really gave him the challenging aspect. The problem is that he became easy over time. And compared to other stuff, is just outdated. Not as cool as some of these other ones, but still holds up as a pretty memorable boss. Now this though, this guy, oh yeah. He definitely has to go into the oh my god tier. Because he is really cool. Oh wait, let me take a look. Screw it. He's going absolute TDX. I adore the Eradicator Mark II Plus's design. Really, really awesome. I don't think I could have think of any other design. I don't think I would have been able to think of any other design that would more perfectly aspect this. Back then, honestly, you want to be for real? Eradicator Mark II felt like the juggernaut that's like goofy. He was like the goofy, unserious juggernaut. Now though, he's a murder machine that is only here to cause as much destruction as possible. And he really does just decide to show off that with his quote unquote aura. For example, the way he just drops down from the sky in Nightmare mode with his Nightmare variation just brings so much more personality to him, as if his whole new awesome design wasn't enough. This is why the Relay Plague Doctor Plus design was so disappointing, because this is what we got for Expert rework. This was just so freaking cool. So that when we got to see what the new design was for Remake Plague Doctor, we just got to see he was a bigger version. That was what was so disappointing, because this is what they could have done. They could have straight up changed him. And based off of the gameplay, similar to Artemis, or not Artemis, Cyber Dragon, it can go two different ways. One, you're unprepared, most likely had pretty big casualties during Destructor's boss fight. This is going based off like Expert mode, for example, because he is most threatening in Expert mode. So one, you are honestly not super prepared, since you are only given 2 waves, really a wave to actually get up all your defenses, because he comes out relatively early, only 2 waves after Destructor does. And you put up a good fight. First phase is over, but by the time he gets to second phase, it goes downhill. His first phase essentially is more so about him trying to kill as much stuff as possible for the time being, or just wearing them down, dealing damage as much as possible with all of his new abilities, like his one where he stomps in the ground, sends a lot of like rocket up into the air, crashing back down, or even his naval, or even like his naval variation. Of course, still having his Eradicator Mark II's abilities, where he has his miniguns, which has now been upgraded, his rocket pods, which of course were upgraded, and his flame breath, which was also upgraded. He actually doesn't have stealth power yet. Other ones that he gained are like this cool little hexa shooting thing, which he was going give a death stare to a tower to shoot him immediately, doing pretty much killing them immediately. He has a focused fire version of his minigun, pretty much the same thing as a minigun, except he focuses one tower, which guarantees a death unless you have really, really good medics or like any healing stuff on the field. He also has a anti-aerial variation of his rocket pod, which means he's capable of also dealing with naval and also aerial towers. Though naval's sort of he's just sort of there to get rid of the use of like golden worship and like worship. I don't know, golden worship. We aren't going to bring golden worship into this. I feel like golden worship kind of just negates anything that's dealt to him. Either way, though, this boss has other ones, such as his ability to repair his health and heal up a good portion of it. And also, he has another one where we're just going to send out a flare gun. Not flare gun. He'll shoot a flare, which will send in drones, ranging from the missile drones, which usually attack from the front and do way too much fucking damage, without really giving any sort of like notice at all. And he also has healing drones, which always sit behind the Eradicator Mark II Plus at all times to constantly be healing. This again requires good targeting. You want to set, for example, you're using XYM turret. This is if you're not using AA turret, which because AA turret just sort of negates this guy's drones. But you're using XYM turret. You want to go for obviously the healing drones are much more dangerous because healing drones are a huge factor of why sometimes the second phase can be so hard to deal with. But don't forget the missile drones, which are still there, that still have pretty good damage or pretty good health left, that could kill your base if they reach it. They also will do, again, surprisingly really high amounts of damage. So you also want to have some extreme turrets on first to deal with those. It's all about strategy within this. He is probably the most strategy required bosses. Again, expert variation. His other variations just pretty much at that point you're able to deal with everything. So yeah. But anyways, again, really, really cool boss. I fucking love this guy. Not to mention he has pretty much the coolest rage mode in the entire game. He'll go ahead and use the something that I was a little bit of ashamed to actually see, that instead of using his Eradicator Mark II screen, we just reused a longer variation of Eradicator Mark I combat screen. But you know what? It's not hard. It's not that bad, because if you really think about it, maybe that's just like what all the upgraded variations of the Eradicator screams are. Eradicator Mark I Combat basically just being an upgraded version of the Eradicator, and the Eradicator Mark II Plus being an upgraded version of the Eradicator Mark II. So that's my theory. You know, all of our screams are just going to sound like that because they're an upgraded version. Maybe that's just how they demonstrate their authority, I guess. You know? It's just like, it's like a war alarm. Like a war... what are they called? You can just go, yeah, like an alarm. Like, it just goes off and it sends in dread because you know what's about to happen. This is basically that. The Eradicator Mark I Combat scream was pretty cool because it sounded more vicious. It sounded more, demanding than the regular Eradicator scream. which is why it was probably one of the coolest and most loved rage modes because of that. Maybe that's what they're trying to get off of, because the upgraded Eradicator so far have really only ever been meant to kill as much stuff as possible. So that's just my idea. For a second phase as well, going back to the rage mode, he'll scream, do that. He'll also go ahead and gain a a blue force field. I don't know what this does, whether it does like the 50 maxed out cap thing. Maybe it's just there for show. I honestly don't know. But he'll go ahead and he'll use his minigun to spin in an entire circle, dealing good amounts of damage, and immediately screaming to stun everything once again and shoot at rockets, pretty much giving no recover time from his minigun spray, which can kill a good amount of towers. This is where it all falls apart. Now that so much stuff has been taking damage from his first phase, he goes ahead and takes advantage of that by using his rage mode to take out as much stuff as possible. And after his rage mode, he also spawns in a huge amount of missile drones and healing drones, which is a problem. If FSAM turrets die, or if AA turrets die, and you don't have any more rebuilds on them, or they are rebuilding, that could give the Eradicator Mark II plus his drones more time to get through, and the Eradicator Mark II himself to actually go in and start healing. Because long as he also gains his stealth healing ability that his predecessor had. And at this point, if you don't have enough damage to deal with him, he can heal all the way back up to full health. It's honestly sort of ridiculous. Anyways, yeah, I think that's enough for me just glazing the shit out of this boss. You get what I mean. I fucking love this boss. So yeah, next up we have the Avatar. I mean, I guess it's cool. I don't really know. I wouldn't say it's absolute dog shit. Well, I mean, but for real, I actually did like Avatar when he first came out. It's, again, not an actual boss, but he's a mini-boss. He's not really flawed either. I don't know, I'd say just meh. He's not a boss, so I'm not gonna put him above, like, Crushertron or anything. He also doesn't serve much of a purpose other than just the fact, hey, I can spawn in the middle of the path. That's about it. His damage is pretty dog shit, and he also has, like, snail pace type speed, so yeah. Other than that, the Avatar is pretty cool. Next up, we have the Eradicator Mark IV. I gotta think about this one. Eradicator Mark IV is a decent boss. The problem with him is that he seems too easy. So, I don't know if I'd put him above... Alright, I think I'm gonna put him... right here. That seems like a pretty fair placement. He's not as cool... Yo, screw it. I'm gonna put Zeus above Eradicator. Because now it seems like Zeus is too far apart from his other homies. You know? So now it seems like as if he's loved much less. When in reality, he's a good portion of why they're even so high up. So I think that's pretty fair. Though the Eradicator is still a really cool boss. The Eradicator Mark IV, though, when it first came out, was a huge threat. And really showed, hey, warships are not invincible. You want to see? Here, I'll show you. Proceeds to shoot the death shot. Anyways, though, this guy and his whole warship throne, which is sort of overestimated, it feels, since the others can also do a lot of stuff as well. Either way, it feels like nowadays, since you're probably going to be able to deal with him, let's be honest. He's not super hard anymore, so his gameplay is sort of meh. Otherwise, I think he's a pretty cool boss. I do like what he is. But even just like him showing up in Wave 26 in Nightmare Mode, he gets destroyed pretty easily. So yeah. Alright, so next up we have the Ratadog, which is yet another mini boss. But you know what? I think the Ratadog's better than the Predator. I think it's better than that. I think it's better than the Queen. I think it's better than the King. I'll put it right there, yeah. That seems pretty fair, I guess. Actually, no, I gotta think about this one. It's not a real boss. I gotta really think about it. It's not a real boss. It's just a damn mini boss. Is it better than the Queen? Yeah, I'll say so. The Queen doesn't do a whole lot. I think it's better. The King, I suppose, I'll put between them. But Ratadog is a surprisingly pretty cool enemy. even if it is just a mini boss and doesn't really deserve to be on this list. He is anyways, and he's not bad. The Uriah dog is interesting because first of all, we're not expecting to see a robot dog as an enemy. Nonetheless, a mini boss class type enemy. He's basically a pretty shitty eradicator. Yeah, that's basically what he is. Funny enough, I think he actually has more health than Eradicator, so yeah, that's very interesting. Either way, though, he's just a mini boss. So he's just sort of there. Um, so like they are vicious and they are fast. They are mean. They will cause some deaths. I'll say that. All right, now we have the Eradicator Mark 1 combat. He's definitely interesting. I'll put him above, probably the top tier here. He's pretty cool. His whole thing is that he is constantly doing a lot of melee damage, but also lasers, which he just shows off, are pretty damn strong too. His rage mode as well, goes ahead and screams that famous scream as I was talking about, and fully heals, gives a little shock. Which I do like about the endless mode bosses is that they all had their own little shocking addition that each one of them brought along. Eradicator Mark 4 could run for his rage, and for this guy's rage, he fully heals. He's actually a relatively weak enemy when it comes down to his health. I know 1 million is a good amount, but wave 60, yeah, I think you have enough damage to take care of him. Either way, though, he's a pretty cool boss in general, and it also feels really rewarding whenever you can kill him before he goes into rage. It's really rewarding whenever you can do that. It's even better for the golden version of him. Either way, pretty cool enemy. Now we have Hunter. So, interestingly enough, Hunter has a regular version and a nightmare version, even though he is just a mini boss. His nightmare version is obviously significantly better. Simple as that. He now gets tactically deployed. He has his whole tactical roll ability. Do a barrel roll. He also has his not ricochet, his several shot ability. He feels like a boss. Simple as that. And you know what? For that, I'm going to put him right here. Worse than Eradicator, but you know what? Pretty high for a mini boss. I think that's fine. Alright, now we have Apex Predator. Come on, it's Apex Predator. You can never screw over Apex Predator. And I think he's pretty good. I'm going to put him in the oh my god tier. Because I think it's no brainer. I think it's a no brainer that he beats Destructor. Destructor's cool, but I mean it's Apex Predator. His whole ability, which was to spawn in several predators, snow predators and hunters, that was another shocking aspect that we did not see coming. Which is what he brought onto the table. Along that, he was a huge threat. He damaged everything. He was killing stuff left and right. He honestly felt like a massive threat, and people were honestly scared whenever he would come out. He instantly became a fan favorite into the community because of what he was, along with his popular Apex Predator soundtrack with that one part. You know what I'm talking about. But he immediately became a fan favorite. Also, just the whole fact that he's a quote-unquote predator, which I think is pretty funny. Either way, though, really cool boss. Also, another thing, his death, which not many people actually saw, because this is like before anything can actually explode and do damage. Like, even Phobos, Artemis, they both explode after they die. Same thing like VX Drone. This guy sort of brought along that where he would take out his core and explode, killing him multiple stuff nearby. They were not expecting that. So yeah, pretty fair ranking there. Now we have Calamity. Alright, Calamity ends the road for the endless mode bosses becoming like over time just better. Because honestly, he's worse than Eradicator Mark 1 combat. He's better than Eradicator Mark 4. And he's better than Phobos, but worse than Eradicator Mark 1 combat. He just feels bland. He had potential, but doesn't do a whole lot. I know he's not a robot or anything like that, but he still felt like he could do more than what he actually does. Basically, his whole thing. He could stomp and kill anything nearby him that is stomped on. Also spawning redacted adversaries and entities, which each have relatively high health. Also, he also has his main ability, which is his shocking part, I guess, that he had, which is that he'll go ahead and cause a mass summon. Like, I'm talking huge amounts of enemies across the map, of those relatively strong enemies, having like 66,666 health each. Even some catastrophic and cataclysmics, which have 600,000 health each. His whole thing is he had 6 million health, so he was a very, very tanky fellow back then. He's sort of mild now. But compared to Apex Predator and what he does, Calamity's not that bad. Calamity can only kill stuff that's nearby him whenever he stomps, and also the fact that he kills a percentage of towers the second time he uses his stop ability, or like the first time after the mass summon. And of course, when he goes into rage mode after he reaches 1 million health, he'll scream and kill a percentage of towers, and then gain a speed boost. Other than that, though, that's all that Calamity has. Felt a little bit disappointing, but still a cool boss nonetheless. Calamity's pretty cool. I like his design. And yeah. Next up, we have Golden Eradicator Mark IV. He's gonna be interesting in rank. He's just like a harder variation of the Eradicator Mark IV. He also his heals. So his whole thing is he shoots the death shot very often. I'll put him probably like right here. Feels like a pretty fair ranking, I guess. I don't know. He's not canon, so there's really no lore to him. That's kind of all I gotta say. Wow. And for the Golden Eradicator Mark 1 combat, probably just like right here, I'd say. He's just a better version of him. He has more health and all that. Really there's nothing else except he's basically just buffed Eradicator Mark 1 combat, really. So that's about it. Again, it feels even more rewarding to kill him before his rage mode. Now we have Void Apex Predator. Void Apex Predator, I'm going to put slightly better because it's just the upgraded version and cooler. While it didn't bring the table to what regular Apex Predator did, it is Void Apex Predator, and for a while, Rain is the strongest boss in the game. Right now, he is most definitely the strongest out of every other boss so far. The problem is that you would rarely ever see him, with him being Wave 200 exclusive in Endless mode, which would require over an hour of gameplay. Or now maybe like, I don't know, 40 minutes because Golden Worship exists. But again, he is pretty hard to actually even manage to get to. So the problem with him is that what I've seen is that he's actually a fairly easy boss, surprisingly. Not too hard, but he does have his whole spawning, not even just like predator things, but also he spawns in apex predators, which is pretty cool. He was a much more bigger threat when he actually had heavy resistance. He's sort of like a boss, so he's just sort of there. Because now, I mean, with 200 waves, you have more than enough money to not have to worry about baits anymore. Simple as that. So next up, these two are very hard to even actually distinguish from each other. But we have Avatar M first, which, I don't know, it's better of an Avatar. And then Avatar R, which is just the laser variant. Yeah, these two are just the exact same, and they don't even feel any more special than what Avatar is. They're just better because of the fact that they're just upgraded versions of the Avatar. The Avatar M pretty much is just there and appears in Wave 20, and he's just basically Avatar but can shoot fire. The Avatar R is just the same thing as Avatar M, even looking practically the exact same, except it can shoot lasers. Cool. Though something that kind of bothers me is that the Avatar M has 100% fire resistance. That makes sense, you know. His whole thing is fire. Why the hell does I think the Avatar R has like 30% or like 50% laser resistance, even though his whole thing is lasers. I don't know. It feels like TDX just wants people to be using laser damage towers. I don't know. Pretty yeah. All right. I'm guessing you all can guess where I'm gonna put the Jaeger. Where am I gonna put the Jaeger? Or Jagger? I have no idea what the hell to call him. I call him Jaeger most of the time, but I don't really know. Where do I put the Jaeger? Most of you would probably say, here. Everybody hates him. Get rid of him. Nobody likes him. And I say, he's just meh. I never actually had a huge problem with him. And I don't know just by the way I play it or anything, because I just don't really use Refractor a whole lot. But, like, yeah, he's annoying, but he only appears a couple times. He's not even that great of a boss either. He's just sort of there and dies very fast. So in reality, he doesn't even get a whole lot of time to even do anything. So I can understand the hate for him and all, but I don't know if he's eradicated now type shit. I don't know. Maybe I'll just get a whole new hatred for him at one point. But for now, I don't really have any hatred towards him. Just more so, he's kind of a shitty boss. I now have X2 Trooper. Problem: the X2 Trooper. He's cool, but his whole thing is his rage mode. He dies. He starts taking damage so fast. You don't even get to see the guy for probably more than just a few bits. His long ass rage mode along with X2 Fighter, which is a weaker version of him, is basically all that stretches out the boss fight. Which is why I put him in probably the highest ranking tier of the bland ass emoji. Because in reality, you don't even get to see him for a very long time. You see him for a second, then you don't because they're in the rage mode, and then they start killing everything because that mode's overpowered, and then go back, and then just immediately die. I don't know, it's sort of bland bosses because they just don't get to shine a whole lot. But the rage mode's actually really cool, though. Probably like second best out of all the rage modes in the entire game. Alright, now we have Alpha Predator. Alpha Predator. Honestly, he's kind of flawed compared to like Apex Predator. I'll put him no shocker in epic tier above Destructor. But I prefer his Apex Predator version because first of all, I like the idea of spawning several with predators. The Alpha Predator does not spawn anything. He's just there to cause absolute mass destruction. That's his whole thing. Another thing is that he has this whole thing where they kind of make players think, oh yeah, he's gonna explode after he dies, like Apex Predator. Oh yeah, I gotta sell all my stuff. So it decides to screw players over by showing, oh hey look, I'm still alive. In fact, I just regained all my health. Fuck you. I don't know, pretty interesting boss. But either it goes two different ways. Either he kills a lot of stuff but eventually dies, or he just dies really fast via like I don't know, War Machine or something. I don't know, sometimes he either feels like a pretty high threat with the fact that he kills a lot of stuff, never really being a threat to make it to the end most of the time, or he's just a threat that dies really fast. So yeah. Now, Emperor. This one, ooh, honestly, wait, hold up a fucking minute. Oh, you slimy little bastard. I, I don't think I ever put you in absolute TDX. I'm sorry, but you are not an absolute TDX boss. Where would I even put you? Right here, I think. Yeah, wow, how the hell did you even get up there? I didn't realize he was there. Trying to cheat the system. Anyways. Emperor is a pretty interesting one. Listen, I like his design. I like his lore. His gameplay is cool. But he is fairly easy. He gives you multiple tries and chances to beat him, and he's not even meant to even beat you in the first place. You have basically a 100% succeed rate if you're trying to beat him once you make it to him. Unless you're an Ultra Nightmare. Or like MLG Nightmare, I suppose. But even then MLG Nightmare, you still have a pretty good chance. Just that it takes fucking ages because Emperor just has so much damn health. By the way, Emperor, I'll put in epic tier, probably above Alpha Predator because Alpha Predator is really only meant for one thing. But he didn't really change the meta, I suppose. Not the meta. He didn't really do all too much like what Apex Predator did, I feel. So the really cool boss, everything else about it is really cool. Just that he seemed like a pretty bland gameplay, and that's about it. Everything else though is absolutely great. Smash 9X. I mean, Ah, he's just absolute dog shit. Um, I'll put him probably below Cyber Dragon because at least Cyber Dragon is actually, you know, he's at least somewhat memorable. Nobody remembers this guy. Nobody plays Ultra Nightmare for regardless, and he's only exclusive to Ultra Nightmare. Yeah, I don't think many people are even going to be remembering this guy's fucking existence. And for a good reason, too. He's such a random boss. He regularly starts out with pretty low health, but in Ultra Nightmare, for some reason, he gets 4 million health, and that's the only time you ever see him. So in reality, he might as well just have that 4 million health just all to himself. Because that's what he can just do. But anyways, yeah. Very dog shit boss. He's so forgettable. He's just not even really there half the time. I mean, he could have been a bigger threat, just that, never really a whole lot was even put into him. Yeah. Alright, next up we have Dark Presence. Dark Presence is probably like one of the most flawed bosses in the entire game. Probably one of the most forgettable along with Smash 9X. Probably slightly. Very, very, very slightly more memorable than Smash 9X because he at least appears in the Secret Wave. Just that Dark Presence doesn't do jack shit. Smash 9X basically just stuns the ground and has and it does have a rage mode. All Dark Presence does is a flying boss that slashes shit nearby. Wow, god damn, this boss is useless. Yeah, so this boss is very pointless. I'll just say that. Dark Presence is probably the most forgettable and most pointless bosses in the entire game. That Calamity is significantly cooler than what the hell this guy has to show to the table, to bring to the table. Nemesis, on the other hand, I'm gonna bring Nemesis to absolute TDX. Not quite as good as Eradicator Mark II Plus, because Eradicator Mark II Plus is just such a great boss fight and all that. But Nemesis, on the other hand, I like her boss fight and all, just that she's kind of confusing. Her design is absolute cinema, absolute TDX. Her boss fight's cool, but what she does is always confusing. I have no idea what's even going on. The only thing that's even memorable is her absolute huge summon of calamities. That's all. And unfortunately, she's also pretty exclusive. I'm not even talking about like that she's only in the Secret Wave, which she is, but even if admins spawn her in, I don't know what the hell happens after she dies. Because after she dies, it just goes to white and turns into a cutscene. So I'm pretty sure Nemesis is just sort of gatekept behind never being used unless she's like the final thing that comes out. Which is sort of annoying, A really cool boss. Problem is that she's also not forgettable, but just I have no idea what's even going on. Alright, next we have Snow Predator. I mean, I don't know. Cool, I guess. I put it like above Predator because Frosty. Also technically a mini boss, not a boss. And now we have Exo Santa. Exo Santa is pretty cool. I remember him back in the olden days. I don't think he's in the game anymore because he's only exclusive to the older Christmas event. But Exo Santa, I think he's pretty cool. I think he's a pretty nice boss. I'd say fun. Probably like right here, I'd say. Now we have Nightmare Exo Santa. I don't know, pretty cool. So I'm probably gonna put a little bit further up. Probably. This is super, super like very dependent on what variation we're talking about. If it's normal, then probably around the same place as regular Exo Santa. But if it's the party game mode variation where you can summon in bosses, that's gonna give him some damn points. I'm probably gonna put him like right here, just in hopes that we're talking about the party mode. Because also, even with that, when he first came out, the whole shocking twist of the cloned boss was really cool. He's sort of pointless nowadays, but between that factoring of that he became a clone boss and that he could spawn other bosses in Party Mode, I thought was really cool. So yeah. Next up we have Super Red Toy John Mark 19X. This one is probably one of the most flawed bosses in the entire game. I'd probably put it, say, right here. He has a lot of health. He's sort of memorable. The problem is that he's slow and does squeaky toy damage. He's nothing but a huge walking HP bar. Therefore, that's about all that he'll ever even exist for. Nothing else. And I guess there's not even a whole lot to even talk about him in the first place. So let's move on. Next we have Void and Nightmare Void. I don't see another Void, so I'm assuming that they're both being put together. I'm going to put this one probably, I'd say, right here behind Apex Predator. The boss fight's cool. The lore is amazing because it's fucking Void. You can't say no to Void. He also reigned as being the strongest boss of TDX for quite a while. Lore-wise, not actual gameplay-wise. He's actually kind of weak gameplay-wise. Don't mind. I'm gonna get a glass of water. I am suffering from dry mouth. Oh yeah, I need a good old bottle of water. Just don't mind me. Fighting demons to grab a damn water bottle. Goddamn. Anyways. Yes, Void. Void is a really cool boss because of what he is. Because of what he is. First of all, he inspired so much. Like, Void Reaver's design was inspired based off of Void in more ways than just one. Calamity's design was inspired off of Void. Which even just in the game, especially like wave 180, I think. Wait, no. Yes, wave 180. You can clearly see, because they both appear in that wave together, off endless mode. Some good water. Anyways, Void is a very fun boss to go up against, and corruption ability definitely causes some chaos here and there. And yeah, let's move on. Next up, we have the Heretic and Nightmare Heretic. Alright, so this one, I'm probably gonna put in the just meh tier. Let's see, where do I want to put him, huh? I'll probably put him, probably right here. He definitely has some lore relevance. I don't know if he's as cool as Jaeger in that way, but Heretic at least does have something. He is very weak though, probably one of the weakest. Crusher Tron is like barely is weaker than him, and he's weak and he's stronger in some of these mini boss. It's not even a whole lot either. He's very weak. The normal version, at least. The Nightmare version, at least, actually could put up a bit of a battle because of his health. Either way, though, Heretic and Nightmare Heretic both fall pretty much the same thing. Not a whole lot even changes. I do like his ability to go ahead and give other enemies health and shields. That I do like. But other than that, that's sort of it. I mean, the Fanatics that he can spawn are cool, but that's about it. Next up, we have the Corrupted Predator and Nightmare Corrupted Predator. Wait, good. Anyways, so yeah, the Corrupted Predator, Nightmare Corrupted Predator is actually a pretty good and fun boss battle because they feel violent compared to the regular Predator. I'm probably gonna put it. All right, I'll put him right here. I like his scream ability where he stuns everything nearby, his corruption beam ability, and his rush ability. Those really do give off a vibe and an actual like soul to the Corrupted Predator that shows, hey, the Corrupted Predator is this whole corruption that they have is something that is pretty serious. I think it's pretty fun because of what they do with the boss. He's a clear threat most of the time. Especially in Night 2 Nightmare. And also, it's just generally a really cool idea. They turn Predator from a chill, just shooting guy into a violent and unstable version of that Predator. Unlike what the Stone Predator is, which I think is really cool. So yeah. Next up we have the engineer and the vial engineer. This might be a little bit outdated when the Easter one comes out. So yeah, the Easter engineer comes out, which is probably gonna be better. But this version I think is pretty cool. I'll probably put him. I gotta think about this one. All right, I'll put him right here. His boss fight's pretty cool. His lore. Oh, actually, his lore relevance. Oh, right, yeah. His soundtrack's also pretty fire. All right. I feel like I'm gonna put him right here. He is actually single-handedly probably one of the best villains in the entire game with lore. His gameplay, his fight is sort of mid, honestly. I mean, he's cool. I like how he uses like his smarts and like different strategies to try and defeat us, like summoning in nail golems or using like spray, his EMP blast, which was like the first time we even got to see something like that. That was pretty cool. But nowadays he's sort of pointless within his gameplay in boss battle. But for the whole reason why he's even a cool boss and villain in the first place is what he does. He single-handedly recreated predators that Xenon had, took stuff from Xenon, made stuff himself, exact clones of them, corrupted other versions, and pretty much made everything you've even seen in the Awakened event. That deserves some fucking respect. And of course, he feels like his own like big part of the Awakened. Without him, the Awakened would not exist. So yeah, he's a pretty important part of the entire thing, and I do really like that about him. So therefore, he gets it here. Alright, next up we have the Dreadnoughts. Probably the best like mini boss trio type thing in the entire game. Prove me wrong, you won't. This is a really cool boss trio because what they do. First of all, it's the first and I think only boss trio in the game, or this like multi-boss thing that is within a defend the center. Unless I'm thinking of something else, which it very well might be. I'm not gonna count like Snow Apex Predator or anything like that. But going from one by one, we have the Ravager, which Ravager. Okay, I'm gonna be real with you. Looking back at it, I might actually have to change my mind. I just really love the God Trio because of what they do. These three are cool, but I feel like their gameplay now, because of the fact that they're pretty basic, are a little bit counterable. But I think I can put this in. I probably a good between into here. So Ravager, I'll put Ravager say right here. He's pretty cool. I like how he constantly is attacking because of his flamethrower. But with this, he's also pretty weak. You just like permanently stall him. He's kind of an idiot. But yeah, Striker's pretty cool. I like Striker more. I'll put Striker right in front of Phoebus. Or Phobos. Fun fact, Phobos actually used to be Phobius because it was a misspell, but he is in fact Phobos. But I'm putting Striker right here because Striker is a much larger threat compared to what Ravager is. Because once he makes it to the base, he will not stop, which is something that they tend to love to do. These Dreadnoughts love to just non-stop fire at the base. If they make it to range to the base, they won't stop. That's their main idea, which is why they're pretty cool. Because not only is their gameplay pretty cool and just in general, but also the fact that they're smart enough to know what is the smart idea about how to go throughout the boss fight is pretty cool. And then a Contemptor is probably going to be actually, I'm going to probably put him below Striker, but I do like him. He's still pretty cool. Similar to Striker, he wakes up in front, he will not stop, and he also doesn't have a burst like Striker, so he's just continuously firing. He does not give two fucks. He will just keep on going. So yeah, there's a Dreadnoughts. Also, very fire song. Like, incredibly amazing. I love it. It might be up there with Artemis, Phobos, and Zeus. Maybe even as good, if not even better. It's like surprisingly really good. Alright, so next up we have Corrupted Eradicator Mark II or and Enraged Eradicator Mark II. So this one is actually very independent too. The Corrupted Eradicator Mark II is cool. I do like his boss. His theme track's pretty cool. But the Enraged version has a jump scare ability. There is no other boss in the game that can jump scare the player, which instantly makes him an immediate, really cool boss. He is probably the weakest of the epic tier, but he is epic none the goddamn less for that one and only reason. Also, the cool little illusion Eradicator Mark II that he spawns after the jump scare is really cool as well. Next up, we have Corrupted Apex Predator and Enraged Apex Predator. Honestly, not looking very good. The gameplay wise, god. Gameplay wise is a fucking boring slop. I'll probably put him in here. He doesn't have a whole lot of lore. I do like him. But, dude, he takes forever to kill. And he is just not a threat. If you're constantly replacing stuff, which you probably are, then you are just not going to be dying to him. He just takes forever to kill. Which sucks, because this guy has the capability of actually being dangerous. He actually can be a threat. The problem is that he just takes so long to even make it to the base. He just goes in a circle the entire time. It's the same thing over and over again. The only saving grace he has is his absolute fire song. That's about it. Everything else is just a snooze fest. I'll probably actually just go ahead and put, him below King here. But, right there, it seems pretty damn fair. Now we have the Wretched and Nightmare Wretched. Another one that's very controversial. Night 4 was just not it, guys. So this one is similar to Corrupted Apex Predator and Enraged Apex Predator, but in this case it's done at least a little bit better because he's a bit cooler. I'll probably put him, say, I'll put him right here. Not right here. He's the final boss of the Awakened, so therefore he should feel like a final boss. Oh, no, he's actually relatively pretty easy. Oh, that's a little bit of a bummer. What do you do in it? You replace Golden Juggernaut. That's all you do, pal. Wait, what? That can't be right. Oh, no, but it definitely is. That's all you do. This entire damn game mode is just you replacing Golden Juggernauts and just surrounding them over the base. That's all you do. And this, again, similarly, the fight is so drawn out. In fact, I can't even say he's fun. This tier literally says fun. It is not fun. I'll put him at the top of the bland-ass tier, because that's what he is. He's just so bland. So I think, therefore, because his boss fight is not fun. I can't describe it any other way than just being that his fight is not fun. Corrupted Apex Predator's fight is not fun. Other than, well, actually, his MLG Nightmare one's decent, just he dies really easily. But yeah, Night 4, not the greatest. Let's just say that. Still waiting for him to appear in a different game mode, though. Alright, next up we have Ginger Dread and Burnt Ginger Dread. I adore Ginger Dread. I don't know why, but I fucking love Ginger Dread. I don't know what about them, but I fucking love them. They easily go in oh my god tier. Probably being, in my opinion, the best in the tier so far. I don't know why. I love the aggressiveness they have, yet the goofy bullshit dumbass look that they have. It's like a look of dumbass and I'm gonna kill your entire family type look. Also, I love his slam attack. That might just be the reason why. I am a simp for stuff that can slam on the ground. They always sound so aggressive and cool. He is no exception. Awesome fucking sound that he makes. The sound design itself, I don't know. I'm in love with it. The animations, the look. All right, I'll do you all a good one and just say that he's the worst of the oh my god tier. I'm not changing him, okay? I know putting Ginger Red above Emperor seems like a fucking crime, but I don't care. I don't know. I have bias for this guy, okay? Bias all the goddamn way. So yeah, fight me on it or not, he's not going anywhere else. I just like the boss, okay? Everything else is mid about him, but I don't know. I just really like his slam attack. God, it's so stupid. I'm putting this guy so high because of his fucking slam attack. I don't care. I like him. All right, now we have the Elder Wendigo. I mean, he's cool, I guess. Yeah, honestly, just meh. He's probably the best of the just meh tier. He's cool. He's just he's there. Moving on. Snow Apex Predator. Snow Apex Predator actually kind of pisses me off. You could have done something special with him, like what Corrupted Apex Predator did. It's just Apex Predator, but he's frosty now. He looks like he's been through a fucking blizzard. Therefore, he gets to have the. Therefore, he gets to go in the Eradicate Now tier. I'm just kidding. I'm not, actually, there might not even be anything in the Eradicate Now tier. I just don't actually hate the guts of anything in this game that much. It's, like, any bosses, I just don't hate. Okay, so, cool. We're not eradicating any bosses. That's pretty cool. Definitely flawed, though. I'll put it, like, top tier flawed because, like, bruh, you could have done so much more. But yeah. Now we have General Selgar, Commander Selgar, Dank Selgar, and Party Selgar. I counted them all in because that's exactly what the hell they all are. The same thing. Also, there are no other variations, even though, oh shit. Even though, crap, god damn it. Where I have you? You're like right here. Even though, Dank Selgar and Party Selgar just have the cool dank glasses on, there is no other indications, so I'm just putting all four of them on here. I actually do like his sounds. Again, I'm a sucker for the sounds that they make. And also, I kind of do like his fight, his idea. Oh my god, bro, what is going on? You're there. Pretty sure that's where I put him. Oh, I just realized I put Hunter below Eradidog. No, I can't be right. Hunter honestly is probably like better than King. This looks so stupid. Why is Corrupted Eradicator or not Corrupted Eradicator? Corrupted Apex Predator below the Hunter? Boring. Anyways, this guy has got to go in the absolute TDX tier. He has a pretty fun. I'll put him like right here. But his boss fight's really cool. I enjoy his boss fight a lot. I do actually like his shield ability. It's not aggravating, but more so, boy, oh boy, this guy needs to go down right fucking now. He's done pissing me off now. I don't know. It's just the fact I do like his design. I like his sounds. I like his boss fight. He's just a perfect boss for the most part. I mean, next up will be the Illuminati. The Illuminati is an interesting boss, to say the least. He doesn't do a whole lot. Oh my god, I almost went for the fucking roof. You got no idea. My heart was in my fucking throat for a second there. I thought a goddamn huge bug was across the floor. Holy shit. I'm okay. I'm okay. Anyways, the Illuminati. Where do I put him? He's pretty basic. Probably flawed. He's a very flawed boss. I'll put him above the X-Drone. But he's pretty flawed. Similarly to Super Via Toy Jar Monty X, he has a lot of health, but it's just so useless. He does so little damage. And like other than that, he's a slightly stronger version because he like does a little shockwave. And also his rage makes him go like the speed of like a quick, which makes him hella dangerous there. But yeah. Glass of water. So yeah. Alright, next up we have Captain Slime. The Captain Slime is honestly one of the best bosses in the game. So, me and my fellow friend Andrew, which I very well might make a video with him at one point. Me and him were playing the event because we were gonna be trying to do the whole event of the takeover, and yeah, he's definitely a fun boss. I'll put him in here somewhere. He's definitely a fun boss. Let's just say that. I love how he has like 13 phases, and they just keep on. And he keeps on getting demoted each time he's defeated, to the point where it just starts getting really stupid. Like there's like 2D slime, triangle slime, something stupid. this Cube, which is his final one, which is like out of nowhere, it's like clearly stronger from some other parts just to be funny. All of those are bosses, by the way, but they all boss bars. I just don't think they actually wanted to put every single one there. And I'm sorry, I cannot think of all the ones on the top of my head, so just bear with me here. General Slime Alice Phases. That's what this one is. Therefore, General Slime is actually a pretty good boss in himself. I do enjoy him. I think he's decent though. I'll put him above Zeus probably. Yeah, I'll put him right here. Yeah, there you go. Alright, next up we have King Slime King. So Slime King is pretty cool. I do actually like him a good lot. I think he's actually pretty cool looking. Just general. I also like the simplicity of him as well. He's simple, but he's effective. And I'm gonna put him in probably the epic tier. I actually do like him. Probably the lowest tier epic, but I do actually really do like his fight. Next up we have Evil Slime King. Probably like honestly worse than Slime King. He feels like an aggressive variation. That's about it. In fact, I'm probably just gonna put him. I'll put him like. Is he better than engineer? No, he's not better than engineer. I'll put him right here. How about that? I don't know. I just feel like he draws. I feel like he just draws at the battle a little bit. He's cool, but I just like the simplicity that the Slime King has over his nightmare variation, and over his evil variation, and for his nightmare variation. I don't really like piss slime, so we're just gonna go with that. Anyways, we have for the Forgotten Knight. Probably. Oh, crap. I don't say that. Oh, what the hell happened there? Probably. Are these two actually the only two bosses I actually have not faced at all in this game? I don't know. I just don't really play them on their game modes. Forgotten Knight is cool, I suppose. I don't know. I actually have no idea what he does. I think he does like a mass on his own. He can like attack the base, which is cool. He also has like a million health. I don't know. He's probably above Eradicator Mark 4, but that's about it. Okay, now we got Ironclad Mark 2. This boss fight's honestly kind of whack. I'd say flawed. Top tier flawed. Yeah, there you go. And lastly, we have Bunnyotron and Nightmare Bunnyotron. That's what they are, right? Is there a Nightmare variation? I can't remember. I don't know. Actually, I think there is. Just that there's two of them in the Nightmare variation on Nightmare mode. We don't forget it. In case there is Bunnyotron and Nightmare Bunnyotron. I like his, honestly, probably one of the best spawn animations in the entire game. Very kawaii. Along with that, he also has a pretty cool lineup of attacks as well. His animations are really cool. But that's sort of all he really has going for him. His gameplay it's decent. But really, it's more so his animations that sort of given to me there. So therefore, I would probably put him probably like above Exo Santa. Alright, and there you go. There's my rankings for all of the bosses in TDX. No needing to eradicate any of them, which is pretty cool. It's always nice. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. For the absolute dog shit tier, we had Cyber Dragon, Smash 9X, and Plague Guardian. Each one of them have their own reasons that I'm not going to talk over again. Flawed, we had Ironclad Mark 2, Snow Apex Predator, The Illuminati, VX Drone, Super Video Toilet Dark Martin X, Plague Doctor, and Dark Presence. For just meh, we had Elder Wendigo, Jaeger, Heretic, and Nightmare Heretic, Snow Predator, Crushertron 9000, Avatar R, Avatar M, and Avatar. For the blank face emoji tier, we have the Wretched and Nightmare Wretched, X2 Trooper, X2 Fighter, Revive Plague Doctor, Corrupted Predator, and Nightmare Corrupted Predator, Irad B, Hunter, King, Corrupted Apex Predator, and Enraged Apex Predator, Dog, and Queen. For the fun tier, we had Nightmare Exo Santa, Golden Eradicator Mark 1 Combat, Eradicator Mark 1 Combat, Calamity, Golden Eradicator Mark 4, Engineer and the Vile Engineer, Striker, Contemptor, Phobos, Striker, Evil Slime King, Nightmare Evil Slime King, Revive Plague Doctor Plus, Artemis, Forgotten Knight, Eradicator Mark 4, Captain Slime and all of his phases, Eradicator Mark 2, Zeus, Bunnyotron, and potentially Nightmare Bunnyotron if that actually does exist. I, again, just don't remember. Exo Santa and Eradicator. For the epic tier, we have Emperor, Alpha Predator, Destructor, Corrupted Eradicator Mark 2, and Enraged Eradicator Mark 2, Slime King, and Nightmare Slime King. For the oh my god! We have the Void Apex Predator, Void, and Ginger Dread. And for the absolute TDX tier, we have Eradicator Mark 2 Plus, General Selgar, Commander Selgar, Dink Selgar, and Party Selgar, and Nemesis. Honestly, wasn't really expecting Eradicator Mark 2 Plus to be my favorite boss in the game. I love everything about the boss, but honestly, in the end, I guess he really is just my favorite boss in the entire game. I just love the boss. Anyways, if you want to, you can just go ahead and tell me what you guys think about the tier list. You can comment down whether you agree with some of mine or if you want to change some of mine. Like, I'm sure many people would have fist over. You know, I'm sure people are willing to put a fist in my face, give me a knuckle sandwich real quick for putting Ginger Dread above Emperor. Or just like, for some reason, Slime King above Evil Slime King. My mistake, guys. I just prefer the simplicity. Or like, for some reason, putting, like, I don't know, saying that Bunnyotron had a nightmare version. In reality, it doesn't, maybe. I don't really know. Maybe you guys would just yell at me and put my head on a stick for putting Smash 9X in the dog shit tier. Honestly, you guys do you. But please don't yell at me or do anything bad. I would most, hopefully, not get any death threats or anything because people tend to love doing that nowadays. But yeah. I guess just tell me what you want me to do next since I will try to get back into recording more stuff. Just I haven't really gotten into it. Anyways. See ya. Bye. This was a long ass video. Goddamn.